What is up, Steeler Nation? We are back. Steelers Crazy, everyone's favorite Steeler podcast. I am JY. This is Michael. We are on the Sick podcast, as I stated. And guess what? Man, Steelerland, we got to do better. Sammy, roll it and let's get to it.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Steelers Crazy.
Harris Smith shields. Flacco, Polamalu takes it home. Super Bowl 43. Pittsburgh might be bound for that thanks to number 43.
The sickest Pittsburgh Steelers podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
Man, like I said in the intro, man, it's been better times in Steelerland. Our friend, we usually do the Chris Wormley and Friends show, so just want to send best and speedy recovery to him. He'll be joining us at the end of the season, so we're excited about that. You know, he did get the sack, and he did have the I don't know, what was that, like a tango dance that shook Acrisure Stadium. So if there was one positive, I think that dance move should have been on a Sports Center top 10, definitely. What do you think?
I would just call it a straight up booty shake. Some Beyonce in there, a little
Hips Don't Lie, Shakira.
That's Shakira. That's where I was getting at. Absolutely, you nailed that. It's Hips Don't Lie, and he'll enjoy watching this back, of course, even though I'm sure he's a little bit down in the dumps right now. How could you not be? Definitely want to shout out Chris Wormley. It's our natural Tuesday Chris Wormley and Friends show day. And as Jordan said, he's not going to be on because he's recovering and needs knee surgery. A pretty rough injury for Chris, a guy who hasn't been injured essentially his whole career, at least not to this capacity. He's going to miss the rest of the season, and we're obviously allowing him to take a little break from his regular duties with us. But he'll be back. We'll celebrate the moment. We'll have some fun. And, yeah, you said it, JY, man. I know this word right here, sick, has two meanings, right? The first meaning is that we like to – the good sick, it means like sweet, awesome, dope, cool. That's what this podcast means. It's the cool podcast. It's the sweet podcast. But then there's the other meaning of the word sick. If you're listening, not watching, I'm holding up some of our sick gear right now, which is amazing. And that is like Pepto-Bismol, stomach ache, diarrhea, sick. And that's, I think,
everything you don't want.
Feeling. Yeah, a little bit after a tough week for the Steelers. A loss that essentially knocked them out of contention or at least ruined the fun for the rest of the season. And, of course, our guy Chris Wormley injured. And not only that, Jordan, but Kenny Pickett too.
Yeah, and that's kind of, you want to talk about the Steelers-Ravens, or you just want to jump into Kenny Pickett? Because I feel like that's what everyone wants to hear about right now too.
Yeah.
So I'll just shed light on, my opinion on the Kenny Pickett situation. Kenny Pickett has the it factor. I think that if he can stay healthy, he could be the Steelers franchise quarterback, which I'm sure everyone in Pittsburgh is hoping for. I would have changed his name to Kenny Progress because each week, no turnovers. So put it on a shirt, Kenny Progress. But man, if I'm just being honest and not being a fan, it's not good, man. He's been a Steeler for how long and started games in concussion and in concussion protocol. Something like that is serious. I know the NFL takes it really serious now, and the Steelers, it's just worrisome because it's so early in his career. And I just feel like that, he's still on the rookie contract, and, you obviously want to be optimistic, but at the same time, it's just like, what is going on? Like, there's just so much turmoil right now in Steelers world. Like, is Mike Tomlin on the hot seat? Or, what do we have? Mason Rudolph. I think you tweeted it today. Bob Nutting and Mason Rudolph are trending on Twitter in Pittsburgh. Like, what is going on? Is there going to be a zombie apocalypse tomorrow? Like, I'm trying to figure out like what, and Mason Rudolph has handled this gracefully. I mean, dude, I just respect for him. Because he's been a professional through, and you see a lot of, I won't say any names, Kyle Murray, who just is just like a grown-up kid, man. I mean, I get it that you're talented and you hold yourself to a high stature, but Mason Rudolph on that note, and I think he should get the start. But let's talk about a little bit about, the Steelers-Ravens. Obviously, what went wrong, one of our good friends, Big Worm, went down. Everything was just, Mitch came in there with just aggressive and man, it didn't work for him.
Yeah, a lot went wrong, no doubt. Special teams was awful. I mean, that's such an underrated part of the game. It's one of those components where unless they really mess up terribly or something electric happens, they're just never talked about. We had our boy Christian Kuntz on last week on the Chris Wormley and Friends show here in the Sick Podcast, and we got to talk some special teams, which is a little bit ironic given the fact that that unit could have cost the Steelers, a victory. I think at the very end of the game, obviously you had the Chris Boswell blocked field goal, would have tied the game, of course, would have changed the momentum drastically. So that was absolutely huge. And then a lot of errors, right? Defensively, you couldn't stop the run. You had a third string quarterback for the Ravens enter the game in the second half, Anthony Brown, a guy that Jeff Hathorn from the Fan reported that he was replaced by a punter in warmups because he couldn't throw the ball. Yeah. So it's that bad. I mean, the Steelers should have put every single defender in the box and tried to sell out and stop the run. They didn't do that. Listen, Anthony Brown didn't light them on fire, but he had a few key completions. I remember one to Demarcus Robinson on the sideline. I think there was one to Mark Andrews over the middle. So allowing that to happen with a third string quarterback is something that if you were a Steelers fan or a Steelers player, that's going to linger with you throughout this offseason because they would have been 6-7, technically a game and a half out of the playoffs with 3 games to play, 4 games to play, my apologies. And, who knows? Anything could have happened at that point. The Pittsburgh Steelers needed to win that football game to keep their season alive. They now have a 5% chance to make the playoffs according to some FPI index or whatever metric you want to use. And I read that's if they win their last 4 games. So the season is kaput. Unfortunately, obviously, it came with the Kenny Pickett concussion as well, and Mitch Trubisky struggling in relief. I liked his aggressiveness, but the execution was crap. So we'll see who starts next week. I'm interested to see who you think it should be. You said Mason Rudolph, right?
Well, at this point, what does it matter? And I love Mike Tomlin, man, but I was watching his press conference today, and he's like, the Panthers are surging, and I just want to be like, dude, every time that the Steelers play someone, like they can be playing, I don't know who, the Lions aren't as bad this year, so I can't use them as an example. The Texans, we'll say, and they'll be like, oh, they got this, and I'm like, bro, like. It's just, and I get that it's the NFL, dude. It's any given Sunday. I mean, we've seen that the Texans almost beat the Cowboys. But I just think that Mason Rudolph earned it. I mean, if Mitch would have came out like week 1 and been as aggressive as he was, but he wasn't. So I just think that what do you have to lose? Mason Rudolph might not be a Steeler for much longer. Let him showcase his skills. He just let him go out there and it's like, dude, what is it? Like, I know we're going to talk about it, but like, tell me, like, what is it? Like 5% chance, like that, like, what do we need to make the playoffs? Let him go out there, throw it around. And I guarantee you that they'll probably get the win. He's been a Steeler. He knows how to conduct himself. I just honestly, I mean, just go, I keep referring to your tweets, but I want to disagree with you, but I can't right now because he deserves it. That's why. If someone's like, no, but yeah, he's a mediocre quarterback, but guess what? It's that's what you need to be a backup in the NFL, a mediocre quarterback, someone who's not going to throw away the game, but might not win you the game, but the other side of the ball can win you the game. And I think with Mason Rudolph, he's not going to win you a Super Bowl, but hey, if Kenny Pickett goes down and, same with Mitch, I don't think that he's a bad quarterback either. I just don't think that, their best years are behind him. I think that Mason Rudolph, he proved what he is.
I tell you what, I have the utmost respect for Mason Rudolph. I totally agree with what you're saying there.
Here we go. Sorry to our viewers, we're not disagreeing.
No, I'm going to disagree in 1 second. That's why I'm starting off with a little.
Yeah, we might need Sammy to play like that dun 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 music. We disagree now to make it more, a little more dramatic.
A little more dramatic. I'm starting out just by agreeing that Mason has been the ultimate teammate. We are in a period in sports where if someone is unhappy with one little thing, they request a trade or they, hold out or quit playing. Mason Rudolph has been dragged by this Pittsburgh Steelers organization. I said in the offseason, if you're going to draft a quarterback in the first round, the intention is to have a bridge quarterback prior to the incumbent taking over. You pretty much already had one on your team in Mason Rudolph. So I didn't understand the Mitch Trubisky signing from the start. I thought he was a Mason Rudolph clone. With that said, I'm going to disagree with you in the fact that Mason Rudolph should start against the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to say it should be Mitch Trubisky for one reason, and one reason alone. Mitch Trubisky is going to be here next season. At least the probability is high because he's signed to a 2-year contract, right? So you still want a veteran backup for Kenny Pickett. He's not making a ton of money. That is Mitch. And what are you going to do? Go into next season with just Kenny Pickett on your roster? Mason Rudolph's a free agent. He is going to get out of here as fast as humanly possible, fleeing this scene and try and latch on with another team and succeed. So I'm starting Mitch Trubisky simply because I want him to develop more of a rapport with the guys he's going to be with next season again. Pat Freiermuth, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens. You're going to need Mitch Trubisky. We've seen so many teams in the NFL need their backup quarterbacks, right? Obviously, the Steelers over the last handful of years, from Landry Jones to Duck Hodges to Josh Dobbs, now all the way to Mitch Trubisky. You never know who's going to need to come in and win a couple games in a tight spot. He's going to be here next year. Give him the reps. Even though I'm kind of with you, Mason may play better, play more free, but I don't care. They're out of the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me who gives you the best chance to win.
So we'll finish with stock up and stock down. I want to ask you, so just explain I think that everyone wants to know, and this will be a great clip. We as Steeler fans, until we are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, still holding on to that single thread. So just explain to Steeler Nation what needs to go on for the Steelers, because you know that there's someone's grandma out there that has her bumblebee pants on. I know that my grandma used to wear them every Sunday, and they're praying at halftime and saying, look, there's still hope, there's still faith. Let's do it. So explain, what needs to happen. Obviously a lot of prayers.
All right, let's have some fun with this. What do you say? Because I obviously took the fact that the Steelers have a 5% chance to make the playoffs. And listen, we've said it all season, until they're mathematically eliminated, we're going to have a little bit of fun. Why not? Who cares? We've only seen winning seasons for the past 2 decades, pretty much since we've started watching football. So let's tell you how this Pittsburgh Steelers team could still have a chance to make
you did your homework on this
playoffs.
one.
Yeah, so I just want to, first of all, let everybody know that the first 6 spots essentially are clinched. And Sammy and Anello are going to be happy to hear this, that I think the Tennessee Titans are still going to win that division. They're 7-6. The Jags are 5-8.
They better. That was my Super Bowl pick.
Yeah, they still have a chance. Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, Titans are locked into the first 4 spots, division winners. Bengals and Dolphins are going to be locked into that wild card position. But remember, there's a 7th spot.
That's how we got in last year, right?
Yep, I think it's pretty familiar already to Pittsburgh Steelers fans because they snuck their way in last year and just an incredible Sunday.
I stayed up for that.
Me too. And then in overtime, the near Chargers Vegas tie. So right now the Patriots have that 3rd spot at 7-6. There are 2 teams behind them who are also at 7-6, the Chargers and the Jets. Everybody else is then 5-8 below them. Okay. So the Steelers would have to win out, get to 9-8, right? That's 4 consecutive wins. They would need the Patriots, who hold that 7th spot currently, to go 1-3. And the reason is the Patriots hold a tiebreaker over the Steelers. They beat Pittsburgh earlier this year in their own house, so they're essentially 2 games.
What's their schedule like
on them? I'm going to tell you right now. I'm so glad you asked. Okay, so I'll say the name and you say win or loss. All right.
Okay.
Patriots at Raiders.
Win.
Versus Bengals.
Probably a loss.
Versus Dolphins.
50-50. I'm gonna go. I'll go with a loss. I would say that any of those games. I mean, it's just tough.
Wait for the last one. The last one is at Bills.
Oh well.
So could they go 1-3? You never know. It is possible. Incredibly unlikely. I agree with you. I think I'll say this. I think there's a better chance of the Patriots going 1-3 than the Steelers going 4-0. That makes a big difference, of course.
Yeah.
The Jets are also in the Steelers' way, it appears, if you're going to put 3 teams in there, Patriots, Chargers, Jets. The Jets also hold a 2-game lead over the Pittsburgh Steelers because they beat them as well in their home building. This is a team that's thought is overrated all year. They are sliding big time. They would also have to go 1-3 down the stretch. I'll tell everybody their schedule quickly. Lions, Jaguars. Listen, on paper, that sounds like 2 layups. Those teams are hot. They're winning a lot of games right now. At Seahawks, at Dolphins. Potential that could happen there. And then that last team is the LA Chargers. They obviously have 4 games left as well. Titans, Colts, Rams, Broncos. I think they're the most likely to get that 7th seed, but they don't hold a tiebreaker.
We need Steelers, Jesus.
They don't hold a tiebreaker over the Steelers, so ultimately that would come down to division record. Listen, even the heavens don't want me talking about the Steelers making the playoffs right now because they put the sun shining in my eyes, so I couldn't see the rest of the wild card scenario.
Way to rub in that Florida sun, Sammy. And see what he does. It's
right now
40 degrees in Pittsburgh right now, and I'm actually kind of happy because I was still able to walk my dog this afternoon. But yeah, man, it.
Those are scenarios: 4-0 Steelers, 1-3 Jets, 1-3 Patriots, and then the Chargers. If they go 2-2, the Steelers are back in it. It's not going to happen, but is this an enjoyable 4 minutes to talk about it? You're damn right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see it happening. I mean, last year was the road was a little bit made more sense, but that seems a little bit far fetched. But it's going to be crazy when the NFL tweets that graphic. Steelers are missing the playoffs. Everyone's going, fire Tomlin, Tomlin.
They're out of the hunt.
I tweeted that today too. I just think that Tomlin's not going to. I mean, the Steelers had three coaches. So, I mean, that's not how the Steelers operate. I think that there will be some personnel change. Hopefully Matt Canada will go wherever he needs to go. Wish him the best, but not here in Pittsburgh, man. We definitely need some new faces and some new things. But yeah, so again, you're watching the Steelers Crazy, a sick podcast. You can listen to us on all major streaming outlets. We're on Facebook. We have giveaways. 2023, man, we're going to be bringing the heat. You think that the season's over, but we're just going to be getting started, the draft. So just make sure that you subscribe to us, and we're 365 days a year. We're not stopping the Steelers coverage. So this is where you need to be, the sick podcast, Steeler Crazy. And so let's end it with the stock up and stock down.
Steelers stock. Up or down?
All right, I'll just jump right into it. Kevin Dawson.
Kevin Dotson, unfortunately, stock down. And I like that we have that graphic back. That is a lot of fun. We haven't done this segment in a while.
Yeah,
Kevin Dotson is just such a good guy. And, I feel like anytime somebody throws that out there, it's, it's going to then turn negative. He had such a good rookie year. He's just kind of plateaued since then. And this season, he's really struggled. It's led a lot of people to believe that the Steelers guard position is their biggest hole and not left tackle with Dan Moore. So that's an indictment on Kevin Dotson right there. He actually was a guy who missed his assignment. It appeared on the play where Kenny Pickett got thrown to the ground and suffered that concussion. And anytime you have a play that's going to be talked about that much, scrutinized that much, and looked at that much on the highlight film, that guy's going to stand out. So unfortunately for me, it's a stock down for Kevin Dotson. This is a guy that, who knows if he's going to be a starter next year. Could very well find himself on the bench.
I mean, all I know is that we better draft some offensive linemen because you don't have a good offensive line, you're not going to do too much, and then your quarterback's going to be scrambling for his life for his entire career, and we don't want that, especially with the concussion to Kenny. All right, Pat Freiermuth.
Stock way up. Are you kidding me? Come on now. Pat Freiermuth was already an absolute
top 5 tight end.
Top 5 tight end, easy.
Right now, I'm saying.
Right now in the game, top 5 tight end. Obviously, he's behind Travis Kelce. I'm not going to rattle him off. I would say George Kittle is up there, of course, too. Darren Waller, fallen out for me. He's been hurt all season. Mark Andrews is up there. He's not yet in Mark Andrews' class, but he's right around that top 5. He's better than Kyle Pitts in Atlanta. He is now graded as the second highest tight end, if you want to use some of those metric sites, the PFFs. the PFTs of the world, whomever. The Sick Podcast, we'll get our own grading system, and our grading system has him in the top 5. My grading system has him in the top 5. The guy just continues to be phenomenal in all facets, catches it over the middle, beats guys up on the end line blocking. You saw that last game, paving the way for Jalen Warren a few times. Pat Fryermuth's stock is up. He's baby Kelsey to me, and he's soon going to be recognized as such.
Miles Jack,
that's an interesting one. We don't talk about him much, and that's why I'm putting his stock down. He has not made many splash plays. There's just never really been a game where I've said, wow, that sack by Miles Jack propelled the Steelers defense to a win. Or wow, that forced fumble. Maybe I think he had an interception earlier in the year that was key. Yeah. But yeah, maybe that
might have been
fumble
preseason.
Yeah, I can't remember. That's the problem. And look, you're saying it right now. We can't put our finger on it. He's an inside linebacker. That's a position that you just saw with the Ravens. You know, Roquan Smith, guys like Patrick Queen, some other linebackers who play outside and inside, making huge plays for their team. Miles Jack, I hear his name maybe twice a game now from the broadcast booth. For that reason, his stock is down.
And we'll end on this one. Deontay Johnson. I'll give my take on this because I think that he's a talented receiver. I think that I just don't think he's a superstar. I don't. He seems like, and this is just from the outside looking in, just from, you know, what he posts on social media and stuff. He just seems like he can be his own worst enemy. I think he's like one of those people who try not to let the critics get to him, but it seems like that he watches and sees everything. And I think that our good friend Worm said that the best thing to do is post and ghost, because, you know, the internet can be a cesspool, especially Twitter, for a bunch of couch quarterbacks telling everyone. Deontay, I'm sure he's a great guy and hard worker, but I mean, as far as on the football field, man, I just think George Pickens is going to be the superstar on the team.
I'm going to ghost right now. I'll just say stock down because you just said everything we needed to hear.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of Steelers Crazy. We just want to send some appreciation and love to our guy Worm. We know he's going to be going in surgery, and this season, he's just a great guy on and off the field. He really is. And we're very fortunate, and we just wish him and his family the best during this time. And we know that he'll come back stronger, and we know that he's a Yinzer for life, because I'm looking at a picture now and he says, "Thanks for the love. I'm a Yinzer because of you." So we appreciate it. I'm JY. This is Mike. Make sure you follow the Sick Podcast, and we're just doing some great stuff over here. So make sure you subscribe. We got the Sick merch, and as always, it's going to be sick, and we're going to be talking Steelers, and we'll be back Thursday, Friday with another episode, but we'll see you then. I'm JY. This is Mike. Stay sick, the good sick. Sammy.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Steelers Crazy on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.